Many times when you think you're being generous, it actually turns around to benefit you. The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And there's kind of a principle that when you're a generous person and you give, it comes back to you. The way you treat other people is often the way they treat you. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes we get mistreated, sometimes we get taken advantage of. But many times, if we're generous, uh, there are ways that it kind of comes back to us. January 12, 2010, there was a major earthquake in Haiti, and I was scheduled to go to Haiti at the end of February. And I had 5 men from here in Sioux Lookout that I was going to take with me along to Haiti. Well, we uh, were just ready to buy our tickets the week the earthquake happened. So we weren't quite sure what to do. And I told the 5 men that were planning to go with me, I'm going. I think, it's 6 weeks. I think in 6 weeks, something will be happening. There'll be a way to get into the country, and I'm going to go. But if you'd rather not, that's fine. I understand. You don't have to go, but I would take you with me if you want to go. Well, all 5 of them said, yeah, we'll go. So we bought tickets and we got ready to go. The problem was that by the time we were ready to go, the airport in Port-au-Prince was not open to regularly scheduled uh, commercial flights um, for the large planes from Miami and other places. There were emergency aid flights coming in, cargo planes, but not the big passenger planes. However, there were small commuter planes that were going over from the Dominican Republic. So our way to get into the country was to fly to uh, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic and then get a commuter flight over to Port-au-Prince. So we decided that's what we would do. Also, because there was a need for tarps and supplies, we loaded up. We each had our maximum of luggage. We each had two uh, large suitcases that we filled with as much weight as we could, and then we each had a carry-on that we carried onto the plane with us. So we each had 3 pieces of luggage. So there were 6 people, 18 pieces of luggage, 12 bigger ones, 6 smaller ones. Well, I had a friend that told me that when we got to Santo Domingo, we had to change airports, but I didn't know how far it was between the two airports. But I knew that the little commuter flights going from Santo Domingo to Port-au-Prince didn't go out of the main Santo Domingo airport. So he told me you have to get a taxi and go over to the other airport. I was like, okay, we can do that. So we got to Santo Domingo, and one of the men in our group was fluent in Spanish, and so I told him you have to negotiate the taxi here to get us over to this other airport. So we went to the taxi stand, and he was arranging for a taxi, and we got this taxi. It was a minivan type thing, and so I told him, we're going to need another one. We need two. But this driver was like, oh, no, no. So we had all our luggage. So his back seat, there were 3 seats. There were two bucket seats in the front, 2 bucket seats in the middle, and then a bench seat in the back. So the driver folded down 2/3 of the bench seat. He stacked as many suitcases as he could in there, and then he put suitcases between the bucket seats in the middle and in the front. And after a while, I realized, he thinks he's going to get everything in, but I didn't know where he was going to put us. So there was 1/3 of the back seat left. So he put 2 people in the 1/3 of the back seat, which was really designed for one. And then he put 3 of us in the middle, one on each side in the bucket seats, one sitting on a suitcase between the 2 bucket seats. And then he put one person in the passenger seat in the front. And then he handed us all our carry-on luggage to hold. So there we are, surrounded by suitcases, sitting packed in, holding luggage basically up to our chests. So he got in the van and he said, "All right, what hotel are you going to?" He said, "Actually, we're going to the other airport." So he's like, "Okay." And so we started driving, and we drove 5 or 10 minutes, and asked him. Uh, I had the person who was fluent in Spanish ask him, "How far is it to the other airport?" He said it's 45 minutes. Like, wow, that's going to be a long ride packed in like this. So we asked him how much does it cost to go over there to that airport? And I forget, it was either $40 or $60 US that he wanted to take us to that airport. Well, we talked about it and we thought, that's sounds kind of high. We wonder if we can negotiate with him and get the price down lower. But we kind of decided, you know what? Like, he packed us all in here. We would have hired two taxis. And so if we get him to reduce it by one third, if we'd have hired two taxis, we'd have paid more for the two. So let's just give him what he asked for. So we got over to the other airport. And on the way over, we were saying, no, we're coming back in a week. Uh, would you come back and pick us up and take us back to the Santo Domingo, the main airport? Oh, he said, I'm busy. I have repairs on my vehicle getting done next week, and no, I can't do that. So like, well, it'd be really nice if you would just like, we don't know who to call or how to get a taxi, and it'd be nice if you just come again. No, no, he said, I can't do it. So we got over to the other airport and started unloading, and we gave him what he asked for, the 40 or $60 US. And when we gave him the money, then he said, which day are you coming back next week? And so we told him, what time? He said, I'll be here. So we realized that we had way overpaid him because he was willing to come back and take us back to the other airport for that price. So we went to Haiti. We spent the week in Haiti. When we went to leave Haiti, we went to come back to Santo Domingo. And when we got on the plane, we sat on the tarmac for, if I remember right, it was an hour and a half or 2 hours because Michael Jean, the Governor General of Canada, was coming into the Port-au-Prince airport. And so they weren't letting any air traffic go until she came in. So we sat there. Finally, she came. We were able to leave. And I knew it was going to be really tight to catch our flight in Santo Domingo. And there was only one flight a day. And I wasn't sure if we missed that flight, could we get on the flight the next day or how long were we going to be in Santo Domingo waiting to get our flight back? And because the ticket from Santo Domingo to Port-au-Prince was a separate ticket from our other ticket, I didn't even know if we missed that flight from Santo Domingo to New York, if we would just void our ticket and we'd have to buy a whole new ticket for six people. So I was really stressed. Uh, when we got to the other airport, our taxi driver was waiting for us. We loaded up and we went back to the main airport. We got to the main airport, if I remember right, less than an hour before our flight was going to leave. We went inside the airport and there was a long line to check in. And I realized we aren't even going to get to the counter before our flight leaves. So I stepped out of line, went right up to the counter, and said to the ticket agent, listen, I have six people. We're on the flight to New York that leaves in like 45 minutes. Like, um, what do you suggest? And he looked at me and he said, well, first of all, I'd suggest that you get to the airport a lot earlier. That's when we tried, but our flight was delayed out of Port-au-Prince, and we got here as quickly as we could. Well, he said, bring everybody up here. He said, can you run? I said, yes, we can run. Okay, bring everybody up here. So we brought everybody up to the counter. He checked us in. He said, okay, run. So we ran. We went through immigration. We got out to the gate, got on our flight, and we got back to New York. We talked about it. If that taxi driver had not been waiting for us, we would have never made that flight. If we had gotten to that little airport, there were not taxis waiting there. We would have had to call a taxi. He would have had to come. It may have taken him a half an hour to get there. If we had had to call a taxi, we would have missed that flight. So we overpaid for the taxi, but the end result was we made our flight to New York and we got home as scheduled. So we paid more than we should have for the taxi ride, but in the end, it worked out to our benefit.